The Corporal and the Guard by Victoria Mail of Abbotsford, 2046. Narrated by Janine Penfold. Victoria poured the condensed milk into the slice tin and smoothed it over the base with the spatula. As she ran her finger around the rim of the bowl, savouring the sweetness of the condensed milk, her thoughts returned to her childhood and a story her father had often told. In 1960, a man and his wife crossed a railway line and drove into the country town of Forbes. "I don't know where Bill lives, dear," he said to his wife, "but I want to find him, and I want you to meet him." She nodded and smiled at him, knowing it was often better not to ask any questions. "We will find him somehow," she replied, patting his leg. "We will just ask around." He breathed out and nodded his head. They drove down the main street, admiring the wrought iron lace on the buildings on either side, while contemplating how to locate his mate, Bill. They followed the street through the town centre, past the gleaming white domed town hall and the post office with the clock that conveniently chimed the hour. When the buildings thinned out, they turned around and the man parked the car, reversing carefully into the gutter at a 45-degree angle, as instructed by the signs. "Well, it's Saturday, so I can't ask at that post office over there. I'll try one of these pubs." He walked into the closest pub and approached the bar. "I'm after Bill Parker, mate. I know he lived in Forbes, but I don't know his address. Can you help me?" "Hey, you blokes, any of you know Bill Parker?" the barman called across the room. Murmurings broke out, and he could hear a discussion about the two Parker families in Forbes and the various names in each family. "Yeah, I reckon I know the bloke you want, mate. He works out at Draborgi and lives in Flint Street, right at the top of the hill, past the butcher shop on the left." Relieved, the man waved his thanks, listened to the barman's directions on how to get to Flint Street, then hurried back to his car. "We're off again, love. Hopefully we're on the right track." They left the main street and drove across the bridge where the swans swam in the lake below. "It sure is a pretty place. Bill was always very fond of it and looked forward to getting back here. That's what kept him going, I reckon," mused the man. After a right-hand turn, they headed up the hill and past the butcher shop, slowing down then, wondering which house to choose. He drove up onto the footpath and pulled on the handbrake. They left the car, chose a house, walked up onto the veranda and knocked on the door. Bill awoke to strange noises emanating from the next bunk and found his mate Kerry writhing in the mud below the bamboo structure the men slept on, delirious with fever, his arms flailing as he tried to fix his illusionary car. Bill lifted his mate back onto the boards, reassuring him that he had indeed fixed the car and encouraging him to rest. Bill sought out John Brooks, their medical officer, who, with regret, could only offer him a dish of water and cloths to clean up his mate. He gently washed him, carefully rolling him from side to side, sponging him clean. Kerry felt so hot to the touch and his breathing was laboured. Bill replaced the soiled water and cloths and then began to sponge him to lower his temperature. "How is he now, Corporal?" asked the MO. "No good, sir," Bill replied. "I don't have anything for him to eat or drink. He's just skin and bone, getting weaker every minute and really burning up." He coughed to disguise the tightening in his throat as the enormity of the situation dawned on him. The MO cast his eye over the rows of emaciated men lying in a state of exhaustion on the bamboo racks, some suffering from malaria, cholera and dysentery in addition to malnutrition. He shook his head in despair. Good God! Is there any wonder? What man can survive on the pittance of rice the Japs give us, let alone work 16-hour days building their bloody railway? It is beyond belief. He reluctantly moved on, and Bill continued sponging Kerry. Back in a minute, mate, he whispered, and walked to the Korean guard posted nearby, reputedly a Christian. If you believe in any God, you'll give me something for my mate. He's dying, Bill stated, looking the guard straight in the eye. The guard raised his arm to strike, and Bill steeled himself for the blow. But instead of hitting him, the guard let his arm drop, averting his eyes. Bill's heartbeat increased, his anger mounting as he watched the guard walk away. A few minutes later, however, the guard emerged from a hut and handed Bill a canteen of water and a tin of condensed milk. Elated, Bill diluted a little condensed milk and fed it to Kerry, one sip at a time. Throughout the night he woke often to feed his mate. As reveille sounded, Bill fed a final spoonful to Kerry, who raised his head from the bamboo structure, looked at Bill, nodded and smiled. Bill furiously blinked back tears of relief, and his face broke into a smile. "See you tonight, mate," he said, patting Kerry's shoulder, now so much cooler to the touch. Inside the house, a young girl hurried to answer the knock. "I'm looking for Bill Parker," the man said. She nodded and raced to the back door. "Dad, there's a man here looking for you," she yelled. "Righto, love, I'm coming now." As Bill reached the front door, the man grasped his hand, turned to his wife and said, "This is the man who saved my life." The end.